A taxi was waiting for us at the Nosy Be airport to take us, as we thought, to our dhow. We had booked to have a diving holiday around the wonderful waters of the Nosy Be Island. This was the plan. After travelling for about 1 hour, our driver left us at a fairly deserted beach. There is no dhow visible, a very tall chicken, and nobody seems to speak English. We wandered around for a while, wondering what to do, and then a boat appeared. Two very lively young men gathered our suitcases and put them aboard the boat. This wasn't on the itinerary. However, a boat trip after sitting in a plane for an hour or so is just my cup of tea. Shortly, we arrive at Sakatia Towers. And I made a big mistake. I thought the chameleon would be friendly. We are apparently staying at this lovely place overnight. Perhaps the dhow will arrive tomorrow. Immediately we are settled, we can't resist getting our cameras out to film this lovely island. We investigated this delightful place, and I couldn't resist hopping into the water and having a little bit of a snorkel with my new underwater camera. Next morning, we are unsure as to what is happening, but we were given a lovely breakfast. The guys here only speak Malagasy, but I saw my luggage disappearing down the walkway, so we followed it. Arriving at the mainland, we were relieved to see the taxi driver from yesterday. So, away we go, I know not where. We were taken to another resort, Manga Bay. This is on a small bay, but no dhow visible. I chatted to the locals, we had a beer, and we watched the world go by. The only livestock this morning is a tiny little lizard, and he likes our sugar. We are being very well looked after by these friendly people. Our problem is we do not speak the Malagasy language. I have discovered the Madagascans speak a little bit of French, Malagasy, and no English. The locals on the beach thought I should have my hair plaited. That was a good idea. I am going to be diving a lot, and it's handy to have your hair tucked away. There we are. This is quite a large settlement here in this very serene bay. The villagers guard their zebu night and day. They are their livelihood. Most of the houses seem to be self-sufficient with gardens and lots of veggies and fruit trees. Another local hairdresser at work. Early next morning, I saw the zebu being used to rake the beach, and I wondered if our boat would arrive. The zebu are used for every form of transport or carrying or anything at all, and when their usefulness is over, they are eaten. Bonjour, mademoiselle. However, it looks as though we will be on our way, and our guide is telling us what is about to happen.
Know exactly how is mainland Madagascar coconut. Yeah, and also we can stay there for 2 nights. After Mahal, We will go back to the Nustanikil. Nustanikil, this is the first marine reserve around the Nusi Bay. You can stay there for 2 hours or 2.5 hours because a very beautiful place for snorkeling. After Nustanikil, we continue to the Lukubi because the Lukubi, this is the last camping place. We stay there for 2 nights. That during the day, the 2 nights, we have a time to go to the Nuskomba because Nuskomba means Lima Island. Lima Island. You can see Lima there and the snakes, chameleon, and sometimes you can see different type of plantation like a coffee.
We were underway in no time flat and headed towards the biggest storm I have ever seen. Shortly, we were all very wet. Our young captain was undeterred, and we travelled on for a couple of hours and landed at Russian Bay. In sunshine, it is the beginning of the wet season. Our young cook carried all the utensils ashore, and shortly all our crew were busy organising a meal for us. And so began our long-awaited experience living as the Malagasys do. I did discover we are in a small boat because Noel and I are only 2 people. For a dhow, we should be 6 people. We will be mainly camping in the traditionally roofed Makuti-style huts. They're cool atmosphere night and day. We will meet and chat with some of the locals who live in these isolated areas. Hopefully, our young crew are good fishermen because they will be supplying all our food. No fridge aboard this small craft. All food will be daily caught or traded. We will trade our extra catch with the locals for vegetables locally grown and perhaps, if we're lucky, some delicious mud crabs. This experience will be such a plus for me. Swim before a hearty breakfast, visiting local villagers who live on their own resources, enjoying their stories, diving over magic colourful reefs filled with tropical fish, large and small, with 30 feet visibility, rarely any current to contend with, followed by a freshly caught fish dinner cooked in a variety of ways, sometimes just baked in the hot coals or grilled. After dinner, a fire on the beach to sit around and discuss the day, all of which will be my idea of a blissful holiday in a pristine environment, almost unknown these days. As we were eating our breakfast of French toast and fruit this morning, the children from the village nearby walked past us. I ran down and sang Frère Jacques, which is the only French song I can remember on the spur of the moment. They thought I was hilarious, but stayed on and talked to me for a while. They go to school here, but only play as they cannot afford a teacher. We were out diving once more, and we came to an island with a very small settlement. We called in and were introduced to the family. They survive here by the sea, mainly from the sea. They dry the fish they catch. When they have sufficient to sell, they load them in their pirogue and take them to Nosy Be, a 2-hour journey. They also grow cassava, sugarcane, bananas, pineapples, papaya, and they build their own boats. I was told these mussels were very tasty when barbecued. I hope they are not part of today's trading. I know these people are very poor, without the trappings of modern society, but they live on $1 million seaside property in a sheltered bay with access to the most colourful fish-filled reef I have ever dived on. They grow all the fruit and veggies they need, with sufficient to sell and trade for other goods. They are so welcoming, full of stories, and seem to live a very contented lifestyle many could envy. I got a hug from the elder. I'm older than he is. This morning there were lizards everywhere around our Makuti-styled hut. The beach is alive with white crabs, with lots of other things to investigate also. Watching our crew cooking for us this evening, it looks as though we might have traded for some of the chickens. Sashimi is always a popular one for me also, especially when it's made from the very fresh fish our crew have just caught. As the sun sinks, I can smell the caramelized bananas, which are an absolute delight. An early breakfast this morning, and this is the whole crew. We are all very ready for today's adventure. Our crew love to see the footage I take of them. It's very calm today, so lunch was prepared aboard in this tiny galley. Plenty of huge fish caught today. We are camping tonight at Lockerbie in tented accommodation. We have a group of local women waiting for us. They make these wonderful tablecloths. I bought this one. And so these wonderful days were filled with one adventure after another. This today is Lima Island, where we fed and played with these magical creatures. They have hands like us and fingernails, definitely no claws. Even the snakes were friendly. This is our whole crew. There is more than a touch of magic here in Madagascar, especially with these wonderful, friendly people.